I felt like I was losing my mind. Weeks without sleep had left me exhausted, and my mind was starting to play tricks on me. The stress, the fear of a new place, and the overwhelming fatigue had turned me into an irritable, paranoid wreck. Every night, the noises from the apartment above grew louder and more frequent, making me feel like I was being watched, followed. I remembered the first time I met my upstairs neighbors, a young couple with an adorable baby. They had seemed so kind, always willing to lend a hand. But now every night, the sound of dragging furniture and heavy thuds on the floor kept me awake, paralyzed with fear. A month had passed since my grandmother's death, leaving an unbearable void in my heart. She had been like a mother to me, always there to listen, to guide me. Every night before bed, she would sing me a lullaby, a melody that made me feel safe and protected. But the previous night had pushed me to the edge. I woke up with a start, my breath caught in my throat, as I heard three sharp knocks on the floor. Tap, tap, tap. My heart pounded violently. My thoughts spiraled into sheer terror. Who or what was doing this? Why did I feel like something was after me? Determined to confront my fear, I grabbed the rosary my grandmother had given me before she passed and stepped out of my apartment. I pressed the elevator button, but it didn't move. I pressed again. Nothing. My chest tightened. With no other choice, I took the stairs, my pulse thundering in my ears. When I reached the upstairs apartment, I froze. Beneath the door, I saw the shadow of something with four legs. A low, menacing growl filled the silence. My body reacted before my mind. I dropped to the floor, trembling. And then, darkness. The hallway light flickered off, and I was left alone in the silence. A chilling sound broke through the stillness. A song. The same lullaby my grandmother used to sing to me every night. The same melody. The same voice. I felt like I was slipping into a dream, as if my grandmother was there with me, whispering a song to soothe my fear. But then, the song stopped, and the knocking returned. Tap, tap, tap. I forced myself to my feet, my body shaking. I knocked on the door. "Who's there?" I shouted, struggling to keep my voice steady. Silence. Then, the sound of furniture scraping against the floor. Frustrated, terrified, I rushed downstairs to speak with the security guard. "What's going on with the upstairs neighbors?" I demanded, my anger barely masking my fear. The guard looked at me with a calm smile. "The family upstairs has been out of town for weeks," he said casually. "The only one still in the apartment is their dog." My breath caught. My mind raced. If they had been gone for weeks, then who or what had been making all those noises? A cold shiver crawled down my spine. What if it wasn't just my imagination? By James Tiernan Frost. My dearest, I love you. I have always loved you. From the moment I first saw you, your soft hands, your bright eyes, the warmth you carry like a lantern against the dark. I have loved you, and because I love you, I must warn you. You believe love is kind. You believe it is gentle, that it cradles and soothes, that it makes a cozy home in the hollow places of your soul. You believe love redeems, that it softens the claws, dulls the teeth, tames the wily, wicked hearts of wild things. You are wrong. Love does not redeem. It ravages. It does not soften. It sharpens. Love is not a sanctuary, but a sickness, a fever that gnaws at the bones, a festering infection that spreads until nothing of you is left unblemished. And I should know, my love, because I am what love has made me. Do you think I was born a monster? No, my dearest, I was made. How? I loved innocently. I pressed my hands against warm skin, whispered promises into the night. Let my heart spill open, a gaping wound in my chest, and in return I have been swallowed whole. I have been eviscerated, emptied, left to rot. The love you worship does not heal. It consumes. It rips and tears before it devours. And now I love you. Do you not understand what that means? Do you not feel the terror of it, creeping its cold, clawed fingers up your willing, unwitting spine? I love you the way fire loves forests, the way the sea loves the stones it beats against. I would crawl beneath your skin if you let me, would unmake you just to keep you. I would tear you apart, devour you, and call it devotion. But you still believe in love's mercy, don't you? You still believe it is something pure. That is why I do this. My dear, you stand on the edge of something dark, something more vast and endless than you can even conceive, something incomprehensibly powerful that will take all that you are and leave nothing behind but echoes and ash. And the worst part, my dearest, my love, you will jump into my arms, leaping willingly into its jaws. You will tell yourself you are different, that what we have is different. You will believe your warm tenderness can withstand my ravening hunger. You will look at me, at the horrible, fiendish thing that love has twisted me into, and you will think, this will not be my fate too. No, my love will reverse his. My love will be his cure. This is what you believe, but love does not care for your beliefs. You do not see the red at the edges of its mouth because you are too busy pressing your lips to mine, too desperate to experience the taste of an impossible sweetness to recognize the iron bite of your own blood. You believe love is selfless, that it gives without taking. But I know the bargains made in its name, the clandestine contracts signed in skin and whispers. Love does not give, it trades. It measures and weighs. It offers warmth with one hand and shackles you down with the other. It asks for sacrifice and calls it devotion. It demands surrender and names it destiny. You believe love is a safe harbor against life's raging storm, but love is not a shelter. It is the tide that pulls you under. It does not hold you in a gentle embrace. It drags you, gasping, into its cold and crushing depths. It tells you that drowning is flying, that breathlessness is bliss. And by the time you realize the lie, your lungs are already full of water. I am called a monster because I do not hide what I have become, because my hunger is open, my terrible beauty is worn plainly for all to see. But love is the most terrible, most beautiful monster of all. So come, my dearest, come to me. Let me love you as deeply, as terribly, as ruinously as love allows. Let me burn you down to embers, drown you in devotion, crush you under the weight of it all. Let me show you what love truly is, for I know that even when there is nothing left of you but ruin, you will whisper that you still believe me beautiful. With the deepest, most devouring affection, your monster. The 12-inch kitchen knife plunged into my abdomen with such force that I felt it pierce through me and sink into the solid wooden chair behind. The sensation was nothing new to me at this point in my life, yet it was something I never quite grew accustomed to. The blade twisted, rummaging inside me like a plumber scraping filth from an ancient pipe. I hovered on the brink of unconsciousness until it finally found what it had been searching for, the small, blood-soaked box nestled deep within my intestines. The thing standing over me let out a breath of satisfaction as it ripped the box free, yanking it from my body with all the care of a scavenger prying flesh from bone. The knife clattered to the floor, forgotten. With an unnatural, twisted grin, the creature licked the blood from the box's surface, its elongated tongue gliding over the small incantation etched into the front. The moment its gaze registered the inscription, its grin vanished. In a blink, it was inches from my face, its grotesque features looming over me, exuding an ancient malice. Key! Its voice was barely a whisper, yet it scraped against my ears like rusted metal. Blood dribbled from my lips as I forced myself to speak, uttering the words I had rehearsed for nights on end. Payment! The creature straightened, reaching into the void of its being and producing an iron-black coin. It let the cold metal drop into the gaping wound in my stomach. And the moment the transaction was complete, I felt my body knit itself back together. The pain receded, organs shifting into their rightful places, skin sealing as though no violence had ever occurred. I let out a shuddering breath, relishing the renewed strength that coursed through me. Then, with deliberate slowness, I pushed myself off the chair, retrieving the blood-soaked knife from the filthy linoleum. For the briefest moment, the towering Lovecraftian nightmare before me had been at my mercy. I let out a low chuckle, savoring the irony. But the game was not over yet. Using the blade's point, I carved a blood-drenched 5-point transmutation circle into the floor. With a sharp nod, I motioned for the creature to place the box at its center. It obeyed, its eyes swirling pools of red that had consumed countless souls before me. As the box settled into place, I pressed my thumb hard against the southernmost point of the circle and whispered the command, Disero. A tremor rippled through the air as the 5 points of the circle ignited with an eerie glow. The box clicked open, its secrets unveiled. The creature wasted no time. It lunged forward, snatching a small time-worn scroll from within. Its eyes devoured the contents, absorbing the knowledge it had long sought. Then it howled, not the guttural growl from before, but a sound so vast and consuming that it was as if the darkness itself had found a voice. The air vibrated with an unspeakable force, the very fabric of reality trembling under the weight of the sound. And then it stopped. The creature turned its gaze back to me, something unreadable glimmering beneath its crimson depths. Its mouth curled into something almost resembling amusement. Then it spoke one final word, release. A chill slithered through my spine. The transmutation circle flared, its eerie light shifting into a sickly, unnatural hue. The scroll within the creature's grasp disintegrated into glowing embers, its symbols dissolving into the air like whispers carried away by the wind. And then, the ground beneath us trembled. I stepped back, my confidence cracking. That wasn't part of the deal. The creature let out a low rumbling laugh, its twisted form convulsing as though shedding the last remnants of its constraints. The deal was knowledge, mortal, and now I have it. A low hum filled the space, growing into an ear-splitting roar. Shadows coiled and slithered, stretching from the walls like grasping fingers. The contract had been broken, the balance undone. I lunged for the knife. Too late. The entity surged forward, its form no longer bound by the feeble laws of flesh and physics. It became the darkness, swallowing the room whole. My vision blurred, my breath hitched, and then, as the abyss closed in around me, I heard its voice one last time, soft, mocking, triumphant. Your turn, and the world went black.